Meatball George, how are you?
Oh, Uncle John, Meatball John, Brother John, you're all those things. And I see that you're now on the island of Hawaii. Hurricane blew you out of Florida all the way to Hawaii.
Right out of the state of Florida.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, wonderful. I just wanted you to know that it was horrible here during your time. And I mean, we didn't even have a cloud in the sky and the birds were singing and the sun was shining. It's like, oh my God, I was so terrified.
I'm sure you were. I don't know how you survive. I don't know how you live in that nasty weather you have there.
Well, I made a gin and tonic and I watched a little TV and I was fine.
Okay. Well, I got under a blanket. I turned my air conditioner down really low so that if I lost power, it'd be as cool as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah.
But I got under a blanket because my air conditioner was really low and I watched TV.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of the country. I'm not too high. I'm not too low. So we don't have we have short winters, but they're very cold winters. But I've been really pushing the envelope here. I really could have put on the furnace for the last week, but I haven't yet. I'm holding out for October.
It's only September. What furnace?
Well, it gets down into the 40s at night. It's cold.
Oh my God. You know what? After the hurricane came through, you go outside, look at all the down branches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be in the 70s, like pushing 69. It was cold. I had shorts on and a t-shirt, and I almost went and put pants on.
Was that a put pants on? Oh, all right. Well, listen, we're here for week 4, Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens. I thought the Bills would be able to beat Miami last week, but there was just too many injuries and too much heat and dehydration and all the other excuses that you could come in. But quite frankly, the Bills blew it at the end of the half, and the Bills blew it even worse at the end of the game. So that's why they lost. I think Miami's defense was outstanding. They played well. They played hard. It wasn't their fault that the Bills had a lot of second and third stringers in there. They did a great job, and I give Miami the credit. But this week, we're on to Baltimore, and the Bills are on the road again.
Yes, they are.
They're calling for rain.
Not just rain, tropical storm rain.
Now, I haven't heard that yet.
That's what they're going to get is from I believe it's from the hurricane.
Well, that'll negate the passing.
Yeah, just the remnants they'll get up. And I think, well, the long-term forecast, because we're still several days out, I believe it called for rain during the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much at night, but the game is a 1:00 game, so that's daytime, So,
Alexa, what's the weather in Baltimore on Sunday afternoon?
On Sunday afternoon in Baltimore, Maryland, you can look for rain with temperatures around 58 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, she's just saying rain with 58 degrees.
Yeah, she can give it the hour-by-hour forecast. That's what we need. Well, when we get closer, Saturday, they'll have a pretty good idea.
Yeah, but we're making our picks today. So, all right. I think this is going to be another tough one for the Bills. I'm not saying they won't win, but in the rain, and if the wind is blowing, that negates Josh Allen's arm quite a bit. It negates the strong kicking leg of Bass, and it turns it into either a very short passing game or a lot of runs. Mm-hmm. And we know that the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, can run.
They're a running team. Well, I shouldn't say they can run the ball. Absolutely, he can run, and their running back can run. I mean, they can get some growth. But they
have one of the best tight ends in the league.
Yeah, he's been Lamar Jackson's been doing a good job with the ball, slinging the ball around this year.
Mm-hmm. But their defense literally is terrible. We saw that Miami came back to beat him in the fourth quarter. They just totally are not that good. And the Bills receivers, no matter who they got out there, should be able to get deep on Baltimore and score a lot of points, but not if you got like 50-mile-an-hour winds or something crazy like that. So we just don't know.
Well, I hate to tell. Look, no matter who they got out there, Gabe Davis is limping around on a bad ankle.
Yeah, he re-injured it.
They do not have a legitimate threat behind him. They don't have a legitimate receiver behind him.
Well, they've still have not unleashed Shakir, but that might be a bad sign because maybe he's not ready to be unleashed. You know what I mean? He seemed to play good in the preseason, but I don't see anything out of him so far this year in the actual games.
Well, he's on the 53-man roster, but I don't believe he's trusted yet for a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm highly, especially last week, going into last week, I have a feeling that if they thought he was really ready, they'd have played him.
You know who I think you might see? Tavon Austin.
Well,
at least he's a veteran.
You're gonna dream of him? Like, what are you talking about, Tavon Austin? Okay.
Go up from the practice squad and put him in a uniform and stick him out there. What are you going to do? Who they got? Kumaro's injured?
Yeah. Well, look,
if Shakir's not ready, who the heck is left? They're going to have to put Tavon Austin out there.
Now, look, you see this here? What am I doing?
Patting your back? Yeah.
Right, because I believe I told you.
Yeah.
The wide receiver room had some holes in it.
Yes, you did.
I believe I also told you Miami would cover the spread last week.
Yes, you did.
Okay. They did more than that, but they were going to, if the Bills, spread.
Yeah, and I can come up with all the excuses about why the Bills should and could have won, but they didn't win. And the Dolphins, no matter who they had on the field against them, they played well. You got to give them credit.
They didn't play too bad last night against the Bengals.
No, even with Tua out.
I mean, the defense played pretty well against.
The defense. You can't run on those guys.
No, they're stout.
Yeah, I mean the Miami last night. How many times did they try to go from on the 1 yard line to score a touchdown? How many times they couldn't get? They could not get a yard. They couldn't get a half a yard.
So one of the things we had kind of talked about in the post game show from last week, I was surprised watching the game how often the Bills tried to attack the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm beginning to think that they spotted on tape Miami was stout up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to attack the perimeter with both wide receiver screens, running back screens, running backs, guys just in the slot. They really tried to attack the perimeter. And they didn't get a lot of success there because in addition to being stout up the middle, their guys are fast.
Yeah.
They got very good team speed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll have to deal with them again later in the season.
Yeah, and you can get behind their safeties and their cornerbacks, and if you get a game where it's decent weather, I think Josh Allen will chew them up.
We couldn't get behind them because we don't have anybody on the team that can get behind him.
Well, Diggs can.
He didn't.
Well, okay, I understand that, but I don't think that. But I also think that the offensive line was in such rough shape that Josh Allen didn't have the time, and he couldn't seem to get away from the pass rush.
All right, so
but that's recapping that game.
You're right. We already recapped that game. Getting into Baltimore, how do you see this game going?
Well, I think it's not going to be a blowout. That's for sure. I think the Bills' defense is so stout, and they really are. They gave up 21 points to Miami, but that's the most they've given up. And with Miami, with those two receivers, and you got two out on the field, they only gave up 21 points, John. The Bills only lost by 2. So I think they're going to be able to hold Baltimore to somewhere in the same range. You saw how close Baltimore played Miami, and I think we'll see the same thing from Baltimore. In that 20 or 21 point range is what I'm thinking for Baltimore. So now, can the Bills score more than that? That's the question.
Okay.
And I because of weather and, but if you're a good team, you have to be able to play in all kinds of weather, right? Yeah. And I think we're going to see,
Especially if you're a good team from Buffalo. All kinds of weather.
we saw a lot more of James Cook last week, and I think we'll continue to see more of him this week and some in the passing game. And McKenzie had a decent game. He get like 76 yards or something like that. And I think we're going to see more use with McKenzie again this week. And I think the Bills are going to be able to beat Baltimore. Now the spread is only, I think, 3.
I don't even know. I'll find out while you're talking.
It was higher and it's dropped.
The over-under is 54. Oh, the point. Oh, I got the wrong game. Jeez.
Yeah, that's
Spread against AGANST. Ravens. Yeah, you got it. 3 points.
3 points. And it was 4.5, and then it went to 4, and now it's down to 3.
Over-under is 51.
That's a lot, 51. And if you're talking Baltimore getting 21, that means the Bills are getting 30. And I think that's possible. So I got the Bills covering the spread, but it's not going to be a blowout where the Bills take the lead and coast, I don't think. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle. It'll be close at halftime, and the Bills will make enough plays on the offense in the second half and figure out a way to beat their cornerbacks deep. And I think the defense is going to come up with some big plays. We might see a fumble recovery. We might see an interception. And I think the Bills defense will be really maybe the biggest reason why they win this game. So that's what I'm calling.
All right. Awesome.
I think it'll be under, but I'm going to go maybe 27-21.
Well, that's under. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got it under as well. I got it tight. I'm not sure the Bills win this game.
Okay.
I think that this is the game that their injuries catch up to them. And I'm thinking it's going to be more like 24-21 Baltimore. The bad weather may, if anything, the bad weather. So the one thing about the bad weather, if it is bad, that should make the Ravens a one-dimensional team.
Well,
they're kind of one-dimensional anyway.
Well, they are, but they've got a great tight end.
Right.
And they certainly know how to use him. He seems to get free in the secondary, and he can get some runs yards after the catch. And
yeah, so kind of like you, I'm also thinking that the Bills team might have a good game, and that will keep them in this game. So I'm hoping that the Bills will find a way to win it or hold them to under 20 points. But yeah, I'm a little concerned this game.
And what's your concern about why the Bills won't score more than, say, 21 points?
Well, I think the Bills miss. They've got a problem with with their weapons. The running attack never developed. The passing attack isn't a weapon. They're using it in place of a running game, but they're getting 2 or 3 yards at a crack. So it's not effective enough to allow him to then throw down screen. He seemed to have forgotten he even has a tight end.
Well, Dawson Knox has been injured.
Well, okay. So they don't have a tight end.
And
I think they missed Don Beasley really bad.
Yeah, right now.
I think they got one weapon, and I think that this is a Ravens team who is a little better. I think they're a little bit better able to find a plan that'll be effective against the Bills. I think that this Bills offense has gotten way too dependent on one guy.
Josh Allen.
He's a great guy, but just like Brady in his heyday, you got to give him weapons. or you stunt him. And I think he's stunted right now.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know,
Right. We see it a little different. We see it a little different. I see Josh Allen using his legs. I still see where the Bills are going to use the passing game as their running game, and they're going to get the running backs involved like they have the last 3 weeks, and we'll see them use up the clock. And I think Baltimore, in order to beat them, are going to have more than 3 big plays. You know, we've seen Lamar Jackson go 75 yards on him, and they're going to need those kind of plays to beat the Bills. They're going to need a number of them, I think. I don't think Baltimore's just going to drive the ball down the field methodically and be able to score continuously on that defense. I just don't see it. So I think they're going to have some big plays, and like Lamar Jackson running around and they can't catch him and he ends up getting 40 yards and things like that. And they're going to have like at least 4 of those things happen for them to be in a position to maybe beat the Bills. That's just the way I see it. I think the Bills defense is just too good. I think we're gonna see Von Miller get back into it. They held him pretty much at bay last week in Miami, and I think we see something different. Although Jordan Phillips is still out. We don't know about Ed Oliver yet. We just don't know.
That's true.
And
against a ranked team, Poyer's out. Phillips. Oh, the cornerback. He's out. Benson.
Oh, Bentley. Yeah.
Christian
Benford.
He's out. He's out for this game, and he might be out for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they signed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his name. They did sign someone, and I think that we're probably going to see that guy. We may not, but I think we're likely to see him play.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Bills cornerbacks really, with the rookies, they had rookies out there. They had third stringers out there. I think they did pretty good job against the Miami wide receivers. They certainly held Hill in check. And other than one play, they kept Waddle in check. It was just the Bills offense couldn't score, and the Bills offensive line could not protect Josh Allen. And I think we see that change a little bit this week as people start coming back from injuries. That's just the way I see it. I certainly understand how you see it differently, and it should be a fun game. Hopefully we don't see any more injuries.
That would be the best part. No more.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
No injuries on either team. That'd be good.
Even if they lose and they go 2-2, I'm not worried about this team at all. As people come back from injuries, you know, they got a fantastic team, and I think if they find a way to win this game, and I think they will, even though they're on the road, I think they will, and we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened to Gabe Davis in practice.
He tweaked his ankle again.
That caused. Now this is he missed a game. He missed. Was this his second game he missed?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh no, he didn't miss. He played.
Well, he played last week, and I saw
he was out there.
I saw McDermott talk about it this morning.
What did he say?
He said yes, he did re-injure it during practice. He retweaked it, but they anticipate him playing.
That's great. Oh, I hope he's physically able to play at a high level.
He was also talking about Tavon Austin. So now I'm wondering about Tavon Austin. You got to pull him up off the practice squad. I mean,
look,
I think they're probably gonna. We'll see if that really happens. Dress him and have him on the sidelines just in case they have to have a player in there.
Well, we're thinking offense, but he might come in to help with special teams.
Yes, he sure could take Kumro's spot.
Well, Kumaro isn't really a guy that. So Austin is a small guy who runs back.
Hmm.
I don't know if they're thinking. Um, Micah Hyde was kind of a backup kick returner.
Right.
If something were to happen to Cook or if they play Shakir, I don't know, but maybe they're worried about making sure they got some in a roster they can send out there to return kicks.
Hmm.
In addition, yeah, and who knows? He's on the field. Maybe maybe does get out there and get a few snaps as well. I don't know. They're really struggling, and I think this week is really going to catch up to them.
Okay. All right. Well, we see it different, and it'll be fun to watch and talk about after the game.
I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I hope you're wrong, but I certainly understand where you're coming from. I can easily see how you're seeing it that way. It's the injuries they've got the injury plague, and but it's not just their starters, it's even their backup players are injured.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it really difficult.
I heard today that there was a possibility that their original 5 starting offensive linemen may be able to play this week.
Mm-hmm.
And although that does sound good, I think they still have a problem with depth out there. So even if they got all their starters out there, that would be fantastic. Having Mitch Morris back.
Having Mitch Morris is going to be a big deal, but I haven't heard about them having Bates back yet.
Well, Sal Capaccio was talking about today. Now, he was saying it was maybe there's a possibility. Because boy, they get real thin.
Mm-hmm.
They get real thin after him. I don't know about Van Rotten. I haven't heard at all if he's playable, if he's going to dress or not. And that he's a key backup for them now.
I didn't even see how he was going to make the team. I thought he had a lousy preseason, but such is life.
Well, I hear you, and we don't really get to see the practices and stuff. He might have really played well in practice or showed well, or they just ran out of players.
Well, as a backup,
Howard was on this team too.
A backup center, and he can't make the connection with Josh Allen so they can spike the ball. I mean, come on,
that's tough. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah. Something that they didn't mention during the game, I don't know if during the game, the two of them on the sideline were practicing the snaps or not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. They would have had to stand out there in the sun to do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This week, presumably, if he's healthy enough to practice, presumably he was getting some snaps. And yeah. All right. So we got our predictions in, what did I say, 24-21 Baltimore.
Yeah, you got it going under with Baltimore squeaking out the victory. And I got it with Buffalo under, but enough to cover the spread and enough to hold off the Ravens, the defense enough to hold off the Ravens in the fourth quarter. And we get the victory. Maybe it's an interception, maybe it's a fumble, but the defense comes through.
You know what also surprised? So I know we already did our recap, but Miami was able to get pressure in that game, and it was effective enough that it was really noticeable.
Yes.
I'm certainly hoping that Baltimore will not be able to do that, because boy, that really affects our offense. But we'll see. Now they may go into the game. Remember the game, the strategy in the first game of the season. They had a lot of a short passing attack, or a quick passing attack.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't holding the ball. Wasn't theirs. Then they gave us some sort of stat that he was getting rid of the ball in under 2.9 seconds.
Yes.
So I don't know if maybe that would be something that they feel they would pull out again, in order to maybe make it a little easier on the offensive line. That might be. Now that also, if you're not able to beat somebody deep because you don't have the weapons on the outside, well, it doesn't matter as much if you're throwing it that fast.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what Ken Dorsey can dream up for this. Also, it would be nice if they could get their running backs to run. Like if they could open up their running attack and get a little bit more use out of their running backs, and not just Josh Allen, but running backs. I know Allen didn't run much in that game. Um, not like we
No,
not a
no,
lot, not much
very little. Yeah.
runs and whatnot. I know he scrambled quite a bit, but if they are able to find a way to open up some holes for Singletary, for Cook, I don't know, maybe for Moss, that would really help them. I would think that should help bring the linebackers up, maybe even bring a safety up. It'll be interesting if they play Shakir. I'm really curious to see how he does. I'll be cheering for him.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it, but they tried one pass to him. He dropped the pass. I mean, I haven't really seen much of him on the field since then.
Yeah, no, I don't think he dressed the pass game. I mean, he was one of the healthy scratches. He's one of the healthy scratches. We didn't have that many healthy guys.
Yeah. If he's a healthy scratch, then you got to believe that he's just not ready for the NFL.
Yeah, but yet they either they're worried about putting him on the practice squad because they got to waive him 1st, or they feel that in one of these games, like he's still their best chance to get help. Like there's nobody on that practice squad that they would rather have the 53-man roster who could give them help right now in the wide receiver room. So, they're in a tough spot, but Allen is their offense right now. So hopefully he'll be healthy.
Yeah, Allen and Diggs.
Have a good, Allen and Diggs. That's their offense. So hopefully he'll be healthy and he'll have a big game.
Well, I hope so. And if it's raining and windy, that negates everything. And then for both teams, and we'll see what happens in the weather.
Well, I hear you now. If the Bills are in a position defensively where they don't have to worry so much about the passing attack of the Ravens, and they're one dimensional, then I give them a lot of chance of being as athletic as Lamar is and how well they block for both him and their running backs. We've seen this Bills defense, the front of this defense, shut down and hold the running attack of the Ravens in check.
Yes,
Do that before that. Frazier can devise that scheme. They'll have a plan for that. So that wouldn't really hurt defensively. That wouldn't hurt us so much. Offensively, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, it would be nice if they can get a running attack going, but if they have to pass, Allen's got the arm to cut through some rain. It's all a matter of will the guys be able to hold on to that ball?
Hold on to it. Yeah. I mean, we could see fumbles on both sides of the
of the teams. My question for you.
Yeah.
I told you that special teams was going to get a touchdown in this game. Would you think that would be more likely to be Baltimore or more likely to be the Buffalo?
Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah. I would love it to be Buffalo, but at this point, I just want to see him hold on to the ball. Just hold the ball, go down.
And that's pretty much all they get out of their return game. Catch it. If it's a punt, catch it.
That's one of the reasons too. I'm interested to see if the little bit I picked up of him talking about Tavon Austin, is he somebody that they're going to try maybe on the punt returns or kickoff returns and trying to get something excited out there, or just try to get something stimulated?
Yeah, I know Crowder did, like in this game, Crowder did catch the ball and did try to make some runs, did try to get some return yards, and that's fine. He's a veteran. It's great that you see a veteran out there trying to do it.
Right.
But like if there's a little seam, he's not necessarily the best person to exploit that, right? Like that's
No, but he's fast enough to he can get to the outside.
That was when we had Andre Roberts.
Yes.
When we had him, he had that great average where he had the highest average return, but he never returned anything. He got 10 yards and he was done. There was really that wasn't really a real threat.
Yeah.
And I was complaining about that, but when the offense really kicked it into overdrive and they were scoring so much, that I didn't worry as much about the fact that the special teams really was no threat. Now it would be kind of nice to to get a touchdown, to get a return once in a while, to have some explosiveness there. And instead, you're just happy that they caught it and they didn't turn the ball over. No muffs.
You know, do you think the NFL would, and maybe they would, I don't know, and I don't know what the forecast is for later in the day, but if the weather's better later in the day in Baltimore, do you think they could switch this to a later game?
Well, I'm sure that they could. This game is the 1 o'clock. It's not just 1 o'clock, but it's the national game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a local team, you're getting this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if they can play it at 1, they're going to play it at 1 because
Right.
CBS wants that game. That's what they're broadcasting across the country.
Yeah.
You know, if it was more regional, like the Jacksonville game, or maybe they would be more willing to move, or the Atlanta game. Maybe they'd be more willing to move Atlanta, New Orleans. It's very regionalized. If they're playing each other and they need to move that game, I'm sure there'd be less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just think that we saw some bad things happen last week. Injuries, heat exhaustion, mistakes, time mismanagement, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and they weren't disciplined enough. And I think they come back this week. I really do. I don't, you know, we didn't see Josh throwing 3 interceptions or anything crazy like that, you know, throwing it into triple coverage and those sort of things. So I really think we're going to.
This could be the week for that.
It's going to be the week. Well, okay, we're going to see. We disagree on it.
I hear you, and I hope nothing like that happens. But I think, especially with that loss on the books, if he tries to put more on his shoulders, play hero ball a little more, I think that could very well be what happens. And if they get pressure on him, I haven't seen Baltimore play this year, so I'm thinking of Baltimore defenses of the past, and they've always had guys on the front line who could pressure the ball, who could get, even if not sacks, who could put real pressure in the pocket. So we'll see how it goes, and we kind of hope for the best.
I think you're right. When we're seeing the running backs involved in the game, we're seeing catches, but we're seeing 2 to 3 yard gains. That's not enough. They need to be 4, 5, 6 yards on that first down.
That's not even, you wouldn't even be like, if you're consistently getting 2 yards on runs, you're not happy with that.
You're not happy with it, right?
That's not what you're looking for. So, and as much as it would be nice to have all 5 starting linemen back out there, I don't know how healthy they really are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Safford and our offensive tackle, I forgot his name. They didn't seem to have any injuries this week, but center, right guard, right tackle all had issues.
Mm-hmm.
So you would presume that there'll be some lingering stuff that they're still dealing with, even if they're out there. So no team, it's the 4th game of the year. Every team has some injuries to deal with. Feels like Buffalo has more than their fair share right now, but every team has some. I don't even know what Baltimore's injuries are. Well, I haven't heard. All right, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm hoping that the Bills decide that their number 1 running back is not their fullback. You know, I like that they utilize the fullback, but they're trying to utilize him as a tight end. They got him going long down the sideline. They're trying to run him. You know what I mean, John?
Yeah, look, I think that part of
I say let him be a lead blocker.
I hear you.
That's what a fullback should be.
I don't disagree with you with that. I don't know that they have running backs that are able to utilize the lead blocker.
Oh, I do. I think Singletary can.
Well, maybe he has learned to, and maybe you're right, but he didn't have one in college.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't run behind a lead blocker in college, neither did Moss. So
and if you're going to utilize the running backs in the passing game, they can't just be dump off passes. You got to plan it. You got to hit them quickly. Josh takes the ball and hit him quick and let their legs do the work and outrun a linebacker.
Well, they had that nice pass to Gillum that, it was over his head.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a pretty big game for them. And I
If
think
he was 17 feet tall, he would have caught it.
if that ball is to him and he's able to catch it. Now, I don't know. He's about to be about the 15-yard line there. I don't know if he would have scored, but he had one man to beat, so he had a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But instead, he never had a chance because he couldn't.
Right.
But the fact that we're seeing him downfield, I think that's part of the consequence of not having your wide receivers available, not having more receivers available.
I look at their offense, even they won 2 games and they won them pretty good, right? No question. But
Sure.
their offense just doesn't seem to be in sync. It's like they're coming out there. It's like, when you're in sync with your offense, these guys know where they're going to go. They know where Josh is going to throw the ball. But I think the Bills are playing more like sandlot football. You go deep and you go short, and I'll throw it to whoever I think can get maybe.
Well, the only thing I would throw at you there that would be a little contrary, just Allen and Diggs are in sync. They
Okay, yeah, okay.
but other than that, yeah, I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's the passing game coordination or if that's the consequence of challenges with the offensive line. I don't know.
Well, I heard Josh Allen maybe 2 weeks ago when they were talking to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I really like it. Ken Dorsey. I like Dave. I love Dable and all that, but Ken Dorsey, he really lets us do what we want to do. He lets us be us. And I'm like, then why do you have an offensive coordinator?"
Well, look, that's a good question. I don't need him to be him. I don't need him to feel like he's beat him.
Yeah.
I just need him to be able to be effective out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if things are rolling, great. If they're not, then something's got to change.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
right
want
now, when you look at last week, yeah, we had injuries and stuff, but were they trying to pass the ball? Were they trying to use the running backs? Nothing was really scaring the defense.
No.
And it's like you didn't think was Josh gonna throw it here, throw it here, throw it here, throw it here, and boom, they scored. But it wasn't like that. It's like, okay, he throws it here, but then he maybe tosses it to this guy over here or there. There was no consistency, and there was no pressure on the defense.
We got less than a minute, and the only thing I'll throw in there is just they couldn't get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
They snapped the ball 90 times.
Yeah.
90 offensive plays, a lot of possession. They couldn't get credit Miami's defense, blame our own offense, but they couldn't put the ball.
All right, let's say goodbye before it cuts off. All right, bye everybody. Let's watch the game and enjoy.
Yeah, and enjoy the game. See you all at our post-game show, at our post-game video.
Okay.
Bye, George. Be Paul, George.
Bye, everybody.